it's Kaylee here, and you are in for a real treat. In this video I'm going to be talking with an incredible woman who has started and continued to run a series of children's homes and schools in Sri Lanka for kids who are destitute and from high-risk families and environments, and talking to her about what that's like currently during coronavirus, as well as just talking about how she got started. The inspiration for this video was that we talk a lot in the UK about how difficult it is, and I totally understand that it's really hard, you know, being by yourself, and it can be really hard for people's mental health, but also I think it's really important to think about how others in parts of the world that don't have the resources that we have are managing and are living at this time. So some of you may know I'm half Indian and half Sri Lankan, and so on my Sri Lankan side, my granddad's cousin, so she's like my auntie, because everyone in like Asian families is an auntie, started and ran an incredible project, and I wanted to interview her. So you guys are in for a real treat. Grab a bevy, sit back, enjoy. Thank you so much for doing this.
Not at all, darling. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's so good to see you. Do you want to tell us a bit about who you are?
I'm Roheen, and I live in one of the suburbs of Colombo. I've been working on these projects for the past over 20 years. I do the work that I do because I love to do it, and because of a vision and because of the passion that I have. So I continue with what God has called me to do.
You mentioned the work that you do. What is it exactly that?
And we started with the street kids first, teaching them to read and write. And my first thought was, how can they know the love of God unless they're able to read God's word? They can't read the Bible. How can they know that God loves them? We can tell them. How are they to know for themselves? And it was that passion that really made me want to teach them to read and write. The initial objective was to teach them to read and write, and so that they can be literate.
Yeah.
So some of the members joined, and we felt that we have to translate God's love into action. Brought the kids and started teaching them. So when we started teaching them, we found that they came, with clothes that were so dirty, and they had not had a meal. So we gave them a meal, They could have something solid before they started their studies, which included a cup of milk. And so they did their lessons, and they would go back home. As the numbers grew, I don't know whether they came because of the cup of milk or because there was fun and games and music, but the numbers started increasing. Then we realized that the morning meal for some was the only meal that they would have for the day. Our staff would question them and said, "What did you eat?"
Yeah.
So they would have their breakfast, they would do their lessons.
Yeah.
At the end of their lessons, they were given a good rice and curry meal.
Wow.
All cooked at the literacy center by our staff.
Yeah.
And we didn't have anything. We didn't have a proper classroom either. We had to put mats and get them to sit down and write. And we had to use like primitive methods, like we didn't have cookers because we used 3 stones and kept the pot of rice on top of the stones, and we cooked. It was like really primitive when we started. But God has been good and has been providing, and we have moved on. And the literacy center, from the literacy center, we opened up the shelter program for the children who are at risk.
Yeah.
And that's when our homes began.
Yeah.
And so we had the girls' home in 2000, and 2000 started the boys' home.
Yeah.
And we've been going on since then. Children have come and children have gone. They have always gone with an education and with strength and confidence and faith in God, which is so important.
Wow.
People had heard about our home. There were children from other areas where they were in a situation where their parents up, where they were not in a position to educate their children, where there was a single mother or a single father or a grandmother or a grandfather taking care of them. So we would look at each case, case by case, study the cases, whether they really at this situation or needy, and then we would take them into our home. So the children would be used to gain money, and they would not be sent to school because schools would not accept children from that kind of society.
Wow.
And so initially the children were from really, really destitute situations. But gradually we opened our doors for children who were from at-risk situations.
Yeah.
They were not necessarily street or slum kids, but children who needed help and who were marginalized and who were less privileged and who there was potential to give them a proper education and to make a difference in their lives. Then during the tsunami, we opened our doors for those who were affected by the tsunami. And we had some children who came who had lost their parents or either a mother or a father and lost everything. And so our doors were open to tsunami affected children as well.
Yeah, because I think it's very difficult to imagine, because obviously in the UK education is free, right?
Yes.
Kids would complain about going to school rather than actually not being given the opportunity at all. So,
yes. But actually, education is free in Sri Lanka too. Except they have to buy their own books. But the there was these children had not been to school, so they were 8, 9 years old, 10 years old, and didn't know to read or write. So we had to bring them to the literacy center, teach them to read, write, bring them up to some standard of education, and then we would put them into the state schools. But the ones who were clever, there were some children who were ultra bright, so we were able, through sponsorship, we were able to give them proper, like a real, where they were exposed to better educational facilities, and they were able to attend private schools. So, and that was, and some of them are graduates and have come out really well.
Wow.
We also have a lifeline project now where we are helping one unmarried mother who had 2 kids. So we want, if we have better facilities, we can open up for more unmarried mothers. That's another thing that is really burning in my heart, to help these unmarried mothers.
Because
so many things are rolling in my mind, and my sisters are saying, enough now.
So what is life like for these unmarried mothers then? Because again, here it's not. There are lots of people who are, but it looks very different in Sri Lanka, right?
Yeah, in Sri Lanka it's very difficult, because when she came to us, she was about 19, 20 years old. She had a little son of 2 years and she was pregnant. She wanted to give the child for adoption. And actually she came to ask us whether we would put her son into the boys' home and give her child for adoption, so that she could go and do a job. Because she's from a village and her mother had chased her out. The brother wouldn't take her. She was on the road. So when she came to us, I asked her, I said, do you really want to give your child for adoption? And then she had tears in her eyes, when I asked that question. I said, if you don't want to, you don't need to, I said. And then she was like, what can I do, kind of thing. And that's when I decided we need to help her. I mean, she doesn't want to give her child for adoption. And so that girl, she had a little girl, and so we made a big thing out of it. And so we had pink balloons in the office, and so that she could feel welcome. Celebrated it with her. And so she was very upset, because when it came to the birth certificate, they said the husband has to come, and she couldn't ask this guy who had, whom she had. He was all married and he was in the village. So I said, that's okay. You just, you go and you tell them the truth. It doesn't matter. You be yourself. So she's also studying now. She's studying to do her GC A level, and she wants to go to university if she does well. And she has 2 children who are going to. One goes to our Montessori. Is going to our Alpha College. So she's happy that they can study in English, and that gives her time to study as well.
It's incredible, because I think it is, although we're on the same planet, right, and I can talk to you through Skype, it is very different from the life that a lot of people know here, or can imagine. But to think that even, I think people don't believe that people live this way,
I know.
I think it's really good to hear about it, because it means not only that you appreciate what you have, right? We have so much here, but also, like you said, love does, right? That you can't just from a distance say, oh, isn't that sad? It requires us to act.
Absolutely.
So how did you get started? You mentioned a bit about about why you started, but yeah.
So I was working in the YWCA, and I was a chief executive.
Yeah.
And my sister passed away. She was 38 years old, and she and I were very close. And when she died, I was like devastated to
Yeah.
say. But one day I heard the Lord speaking to me, and He was telling me, "Enough of your grieving.
Wow.
Uh, get up, and go and be a sister to someone else." And then suddenly God wanted me to do something. And when my sister died, the verse that the Lord gave to me from the Bible was, "Unless a corn of wheat fall to the ground, it abides alone. But if it dies, it brings forth fruit."
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand what that meant, because it had no relevance to my sister's passing away. So it was at the back of my mind, this verse.
Yeah.
But now I know that her death produced so much and produced this program of changing the lives of others. So God had a purpose in my grief.
Wow.
And now I know that a corn of wheat had to fall to the ground,
Yeah.
and then it brought forth fruit. You know, I understood the meaning of that verse when I started working with the children.
Yeah.
And we started with the street kids first, teaching them to read and write.
So what does a typical day in your life look like?
If not for the coronavirus, I would be going to office, attending to my mail.
Yeah.
Then by lunchtime, I meet the children, because they come to office to pick up some of the staff who are who are living in the home.
Yeah.
So I would just say hi to the girls or to the boys.
Yeah.
And then finish the work in the office.
Yeah.
Come back home. If there is a program with the girls, I visit the girls' home or the boys' home.
Yeah.
If I have to have some chats with them, or give some advice, or follow up on some programs, or visit the school if I have to.
Yeah. How has the coronavirus affected what you're doing at the minute? Because it sounds really different to, yeah, obviously what you've been doing before.
Right now we have a 24-hour curfew, so
Yeah.
and which has been continuing for over a month. So which means the girls and the boys have to stay at home, they can't move out. And it can be quite frustrating for them, but they're doing very well, because we have set up, because there are so many children, the older girls help the younger girls. So there is a like school in the morning,
Yeah.
and then they have time to play games or to run around.
Yeah.
And then in the evening we have some study time, homework, practicing their music and
Yeah.
playing their instruments or whatever.
Yeah.
Then they have prayers in the evening, and then they are doing quite well,
Yeah.
taking into account that they can't move out of the house.
Yeah.
So, and school had to close down in the middle of March,
Yeah.
and it remains closed. So the staff have to send study packs to the children,
Yes.
and even our children get study packs, so they have to follow it up on
Yeah.
TV or online.
Yeah.
And so education is continuing, but the school is now closed till further notice.
Wow. How has that been, transporting the packs and things? Because obviously it's, you know, getting them to where they need
Yes.
to be.
It's been sent online to the
Yeah.
children, and our staff are sending some of the children don't even have like phones,
Yeah.
the parents, because so they are coming from a background where they don't
Yeah.
have that much funds. But we try to send as much as possible where they can get access to a phone through a friend
Yeah.
or a relative,
Yeah.
so that they can have a look at the work and get their children to do it.
Yeah.
So these are the challenges that we meet, but we are coping by
Yeah.
the grace of God.
Do you have an encouraging story from recent times that you think would be good to share with people?
Yes, we had, when we first started, we had a girl who joined. She was 8 or 9 years old when she joined our home. And she's been with us. She was very clever. She was in our home for so many years. She went to school. She studied her GC O level.
Wow.
She had a very good, and while she was working, she met a young man and who fell in love with her. And 3 or 4 months ago, just before the corona, we had a wedding for her. And so she's now happily married. And that's a success story, because if she was where she was, they would have had a wedding. She would have, some guy would have just taken her, and or she would have been raped or abused, and her life would have, as a sex worker. But to our home, growing up in our atmosphere, and with Christian values, and with self-worth, with confidence, being able to study and educate herself, and being able to meet other people socially, to mix around, and to be an asset to others. And now she's very happy, and so started another phase in her life. And we are happy because we've seen her growing from what she was to what she is now. Another success story was one of the girls who lost her mother in the tsunami. She was with us, she grew up with us, and she then after her education, she went to work at the Bible Society. And then she also was doing studies during the weekends. And then she applied, because she was so keen to study. She applied to the Asian University of Women in Bangladesh for a degree program. And she had to do an exam online. And and I said, we can't afford. The full cost of the degree program was over 10 million rupees. So no way could we or anyone afford it. But she was so like keen to study. And she's also a young woman who has a lot of faith in God. And she said she asked God to give her opportunity to study. And she did this exam online, and she's not an ultra bright girl, but she did this exam online, and she got through, and she got a full scholarship to do this degree at the Asian University of Bangladesh. And Cherry Blair is one of the trustees. Thinking that's amazing that for her, that she was able to, through sheer perseverance, able to get this scholarship and continue with her studies.
I was reading the information that's on the website when it was talking about how there have been nurses that have come out of it, teachers, or
yes,
just
that's
incredible.
Right. We had a number of nurses going out. We had a number of teachers, and so we had the number of graduates who we have. One of the there is a girl who has done human resources management and did a degree in management. So, and there are a couple of children who are following their degree in English education. There's one who did a degree in sociology. So they've really, struggled, and they've made something out of themselves. And we can only give them the encouragement and give them the strength to pray and believe in God and believe in themselves. One of the girls one day asked me, Auntie, what class do I belong to? Right? So I said, you're a child of a king. Because you're the child of Jesus. You're a child of a king. And she was she couldn't believe it. But she thought that she's from a lower class, And when I said you're a child of a king, and then she understood what I meant, that there is no class for us. We are all one family. In Sri Lankan society, that is also, there the class society, the class system, and and the what kind of background we come from.
So what are some of the challenges that you face?
What we do face is sometimes staff, because we need loving and good matrons. And we need at least about 5 of them. So to have 5 matrons and a driver, so the staff, that it's quite difficult staff, because it's not an easy job. It's very hectic, and getting staff is a challenge. And also when children come with like there are blocks, mental blocks. They are maybe the abuse or whatever they've been through. So it needs extra attention. And
because I imagine some of them have been through really traumatic upbringing. So
and also what we have to realize is that the children are not growing up in a family environment. And so they need a lot of love. They need a lot of care. Help them to be like other children, like go to school, do sports, teach music. They are very musical. They love singing. So give them a so that they feel that they are clever, and there's something that they have
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, so
it's
something that they can contribute to society and
yes, right. And
yeah,
it's always I find in drama, music, and singing.
creativity.
Also the fact that all the children they have this kind of kindred spirit, that
Yeah,
they know that all of them have had, gone through a lot of trauma, and they
yeah,
care for each other, and they love each other, and they help. So that is very encouraging to
yeah.
see that, And they
That,
pray together. If somebody has a problem, they can always go and tell the older girl, one of the older girls, and they counsel them.
yeah,
And so that's, they interact well with each other.
yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Even when I came to see the homes and to meet the children, you really get that even just from that brief visit that they
Yeah.
all look out for each other and
Yeah.
the older cares for the younger and yeah,
Yeah.
that real kinship, like you said. Do you have anyone set to like
So,
take over from you with the all the things to do with the homes and stuff? Because it sounds like a lot of work to be doing.
uh, that's good. That's another challenge to
Yeah,
find young people. These young people are busy. They always say, we'll come help you now.
yeah,
We'll come a bit later because they're all, sort of so
yeah.
busy. And I know there will be people, they will come later, but right
But
now,
right now
they're
is
all career minded. Yeah.
yeah.
So
I,
we need some volunteers. We have some volunteers.
yeah,
We have quite a number of volunteers, but we need a set of young people to come as volunteers,
yeah. And because you want them to be trained up, really. You don't want it to be that, that
Yes,
suddenly they need to
yes,
come in and take
yeah,
over or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
So if someone wanted to help, or they might be watching this and thinking, oh,
Yeah.
this sounds like something that is just really tugging on my heart. How's a practical way that someone could help?
We have a website in the UK,
Yeah,
Pearl of Hope. They could always go to the website
yeah,
and contact the directors
yeah.
of Pearl of Hope, or they can email me.
I think there's maybe quite obviously I'm 23 and I think
Okay.
there's a at Argentina they joke they're like oh we'll find you 10 elephants like
Okay.
so a boy
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. I can
but
imagine. Yeah,
yeah and so I mean I understand that obviously because
yeah,
they want me to have a family etc
yeah.
in that way but then I also think for me I'm happy. I think there's so much that you can do without being married,
Yes, of course.
which I think is like I think it's something that's really undervalued,
Yeah.
in culture. You have to be
Mm.
married to do something significant,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's not true.
in Sri Lanka, it's like that.
Yeah,
They used to ask me, aren't you getting married? Why aren't you getting married? And
yeah,
so on and so forth.
yeah,
And I felt getting married for the sake of getting married was, I didn't feel that was right for me.
yeah,
If I met somebody whom I thought, yes, I would like to spend the rest of my life with, yes, I would have got married.
yeah,
But for me, I felt just getting for the sake of getting married was not what I wanted.
yeah.
And I'm so happy that for me, this path is the best because I wouldn't have been able to do what I'm doing
Oh,
now
no
if
way.
I was married.
No
Yeah.
way, no way. But there are quite a range of people viewing the videos at the moment, and but mainly they're from a UK audience, and they've never been to Sri Lanka or anything like that, and they're maybe my sort of age. What sort of life advice would you have for people who, from all your the experience that you have?
It is that when you um, of yourself to help someone,
Yeah.
you think you are giving, but actually you get more than you give.
Wow.
Because the joys that I have had from the children, the love that I've received, their affection, their appreciation, seeing them developing, doing well.
Yeah.
I think we get more. I get more than what I give. So I feel
Wow.
very humbled when
Yeah.
I meet them, and when I think how much I can learn from them. You know?
Yeah. On the other side of things, there are people who've been watching these videos who are maybe in their 50s or older, and I've heard it said that they're like, oh, now in their 50s, oh, I'm
Yeah,
coming, to the end of, my usefulness, but I'm just like, you're still, I was telling people that, oh, I'm doing an interview with you, and I've not met you, and I'm describing all the things that you do.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh yes, is my Sia's, cousin, and they're amazed.
Your granddad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say to people who think that?
Age does not matter. Yeah, I think age does not matter.
Yeah.
You know, it is who you are and what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you want to do something, if you have a vision, if you have a passion, you will have the strength to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
My sister said, when it's time for people to retire, you are opening up schools.
Yeah. It's incredible to hear about the work that you've been doing, and to think it all came from the place that it came from was so sad, and so tragic.
Yes, I know.
Your sister was so young, but
Yes.
actually to see the fruit that's come of it is amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Not at all. It's been a pleasure, and thank you.
Alright, so guys, thank you so much for watching, and I want to say a big thank you to Roheen for having the conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed having the chat. I hope that you guys found it inspiring and challenging, and if you guys are keen to get involved, I'm going to put a link in the description to the website that was mentioned, which was Pearls of Hope. So there you can find the contact details of Roheen, so my auntie, the lady who was in this video, as well as lots of other people who are involved in the organisation. So please comment below if you have any thoughts at all. I really hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, stay safe, sending much love to you. Peace out.